Burnt popcorn, welcome. Howdy, Tiger's Eye. Hello, Hopkinson. Howdy, Jimmy. Oh, man, that was the scariest part of the whole video right there, huh? A lot of broken windshields, a lot of totaled cars these days. This is just the light barrage. Look at that. A lot more moisture per storms. All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. Been a few days since I went live, but I told you I would be back. So, welcome back, folks. I'd take a few days off. Okay, so we're going to get right into it here. I got it freeze framed on this frame. You can tell by our flow asymmetries, we have a big stretch here. You can see a couple of little moons here accompanying our bigger object back here in the background. It's not totally painted this time because it's spread out. But let's just get into this real quick. First off, this is June 10th of 2024. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this, whoops, back into motion here. Now, this is the opening frames, and we had two big blasts today. There's your first one and a second one. So we've had two pretty good size blasts today off the sun, two big objects. And our third is about to pass down below here, and we'll go into that here in the next little frames. So first of all, let's get into this. Catch the opening frame. While we're waiting for that, thank you all for being here, taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. And some of you know what I mean when I say the word precious. I mean it. Okay, here we are, opening frame 012 of 610. All right, here we go. Just start marching through these frames here one by one. All right, you see these little outer moons already starting to show up, right? Boom, boom, boom. Some of these little satellites orbit a little further out from the bigger object. So we encounter the outer moons first. Then here's your bigger object. You can see over here, we have a nice little satellite already wrapped in plasma right there in the center. If I move my hand, all right, cool. This side's so bright, it's blinding it. Oh, good. I was hoping somebody would be glad I'm back. I'm glad you're here, Leslie. Thank you. We're all here for each other. I'm sorry I had to take a few days off. I wish I could explain, but you wouldn't believe it. So as we proceed here, now you can start to see our little satellite, our moon, showing through the plasma here, a little dark circle, but it's not much to really zoom in on. What I'm talking about now is this stretch. All right, you see it stretching out for a larger magnetic field. There's a bigger object in this cluster here. And we're going to keep going through this. And not every time is it painted perfectly. You know, it depends on the position of the little satellites around it. Sometimes they block out, they take up a lot of the plasma. But in this instance here, this is the second one, you can see our plasma coming out, reaching, and then starting to bend over our bigger object. So it's probably right in there, okay, with its little planetoids. Okay, right there. And I'll give you an example. See how this plasma hits it and spreads out? Let me back up a little bit. It's the ghost image of these, but watch the black ghost image of the plasma right here, how it hits and spreads out around this circular object. Its face is right in that structure right in there. Okay, and this is hitting it and spreading out and going over it. Caught a little satellite in there too, because they're magnetic as well. So sometimes the shape will get torn apart. You know, our structure right here, our perfectly round structure gets torn apart by these satellites sometimes because they have a little latch on to the sun too. And they break away. Okay. So two big events in one day. And then here we are, closing frames. Look what's going on down here. Oh, wouldn't you like to see what happens after this? Well, let's come on over and take a peek, shall we? All right, so I think I'm at the last frame, so go one more. Oops. So, picking up here, left off here. Also having another event up here at the top as well. Indentation here where our object is with the plasma still latched onto it. Okay, see our major indentation? It's right in there. And that's the plasma streaming off the backside of it right right there, okay? And look at all this plasma. This is still all hot, glowing plasma, and it's coming out of the region that heads towards us. All right. This is hopefully this is we'll see on the tracker what direction, if this is heading away or towards us. But coming out of this region is stuff that affects the earth. Okay, so that one right there might interact, and we might have a geomagnetic storm with this one. Now look at this one right here. This tiny one has so much plasma around it. You know what I'm going to do here? I want to zoom in on that one. Bear with me. I'm still going through some PTSD here. Okay, right here you can make out a small spheroid object draped in plasma. See it there? It gets a little bit bigger coming out. This little guy. There's also something going on in here. You can look around, but I'm focusing on that little guy right there for the moment. And then you can still see here this round spherical shape still draped in plasma, and that plasma is still glowing hot way out here. So, did that object appear to grow larger in size or get smaller? Because if it grows larger in size, it's kind of coming at us. If it got smaller in size, it would be heading away. So we'll see what they say on the tracker here. I don't know how much I'm trusting the tracker anymore, you guys, because we're getting geomagnetic storms when there's no CME. We're getting all these unexpected hits, right? And I knew there was one coming. I was trying to talk about this G2 storm that happened here. Let's get over here to Solar Ham. It's no longer on here, but we had the yellow spike right there. I was trying to tell you about it. I told you it was coming. Nobody else believed it, and it came in at a G2 or whatever, right? Since my last report. Now, since then, we've had all kinds of activity, and I haven't had time. I've got a life, and it's a mess, and I gotta do what I gotta do. All right. Anyways, let's get back to business here. Enough of my excuses. Here we are. Here's today. You can see we had an X flare, all right, and an almost X flare. Those two big blasts in one day are two big objects in one day create a long duration X flare and then a long duration M flare, all right? That's a lot of energy that's going to be coming our way, or it came off the sun, and even hit the D layer today, at least. 15%, even though we just had an X1 point, and it came out of region 97 again. No, 97, 97, 97. All of these have come out of 97. The also known as 64. All right. Our 1.5 right here is this one. And an M9.5. I mean, it is just a half a click away from being an X flare. Basically, when you're at M9.5, that's dang close to an X. We're pretty 2 X flares. Almost. Okay. Our lifted indices have dropped. Okay. They're down to 178. I watched them fluctuate over the last couple days. Our sunspot number is still is like around 146. The area doesn't matter now. We're still at the tail end of this proton storm, and it's 50%. I'm sure you all were hunting around at different channels, watching everybody's report the last couple of days of this event that went off. And we need to go back and talk about that now, too. So, get the 8th pulled up there. All right, good. I'll get that reloading. Now, our geomagnetic forecast, they're calling for a G1 tomorrow on the 11th or whatever. I think we may have gotten it hit already. We'll see about that right here. Okay. Let me finish over here. Our sunspot number is kind of diminishing. No more beta gamma delta, but 3709 here is still beta gamma. All right. So, and 79, even though it's maybe rotating away, is still kicking out X flares. Okay. Now, over here at our KP, we had this G2 storm we were talking about, and I'm not a I told you so type of guy, and that's the kind of show that would have been, well, and I told you so. And I'm not that type of guy, so I didn't do it. Anyways, right now we're at here we had this KP4, a little higher, little sudden dip, but then back up again. This whole chunk is energy absorbed. Okay. I'm a stickler for absorption. Our our auroras are nice and calm right now, thankfully. I'm finally calm right now. Wasn't sure I was going to make it on tonight either. Let's start off the top article here. The edge of the CME produced early Saturday morning by the 9.7 eruption just past the spacecraft. Now, that's what I want to talk about. So, this is the 8th, June 8th, 2024. Okay, we had the big blast and a proton storm. So, this is where we kind of left off. I didn't report on this event right here for a reason. Let me catch it right. There we go. So, boom, boom, boom. That's a big spread, big object, bunch of satellites. Kicked off the proton storm. The proton storm, we're in day 3, it's finally diminishing. Okay, but that's a lot of energy that we absorb too. All right, that gets absorbed down to the core as well. So there's your big event from the 8th. Now, the reason why I'm showing you that is because these things take 3 days usually to get here. 3 plus 8 is 11. Today will be the 11th. Today will be an impact, a G1. Okay, and we can talk about that here in a minute too. Now, a passage past Earth is expected within the next 45 minutes. All right, the solar wind speed increased by nearly 100 kilometers per second to just over 400. And the BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field is initially pointing south. All right, CME impact. The Boulder magnetometer detected a geomagnetic sudden impulse just after 1720. All right. This is the moment the expected CME passed Earth. Okay, so it was expected and it passed right around when it was supposed to. Okay, now we have an X1.5 solar flare that was produced by the departing AR 97. Also 64. All right. Despite the shrinking in size, the region still remains potent as it turns behind the west limb. A coronal mass ejection, CME, is associated with the event and is heading to the west and away from Earth, thankfully. Other than the radio blackout, no major impacts are expected. Perhaps in 2 weeks, we will see whatever remains of the flare-producing machine turn back into view once again. But goodbye for now. All right, let's play the little movie real quick. So, yeah, that thing's just glowing. Look how much it's just sitting there glowing and how much plasma is already just there. Look at this long, long duration flare. That didn't show much. Here we go. All right, well, that was it. So, let's, now, as we prepare, oh, yeah, I wanted to cover this too. I'm glad it's still up. As we prepare to say goodbye to AR-64, which is 97 for the second time, below is a look at the formerly massive sunspot region over the past nearly 6 weeks. After the first turning into view from May 1st, it would continue to grow and on to produce 12 X flares during the first transit. And then after rotating onto the far side of the sun on May 14th, it would reappear again on May 28th. Another 5 X flares were detected during the second transit, bringing the total to 17. A pretty impressive run. Of course, there was also the energetic M9.7 flare early Saturday morning, which produced a bright CME that is expected to deliver a glancing blow to our geomagnetic field within the next 24 hours. The chances of surviving the trek around the far side yet again is likely much smaller, but we will see later this month. So long for now. Now, want this? Yeah, there it is. Okay, take a sec to just kind of take a peek. This is your first transit, and this is your second transit. Okay, so that sucker has been around for a while, kicking off 17 X flares. All right, the likelihood that it would make a third transit, I think, is highly likely. This thing seems to be a permanent fixture, and just depending, how it's interacting, whether it's on the back side or the front side. Let's pray that it diminishes and doesn't return. Unfortunately, I think we have something that might be around to stay. Now, I'm going to pull back out of that one, not zoom in. So cool side-by-side image right there. A good comparison. You see this drop to this, right? Imagine this dropping the same amount from here to here. Maybe next third transit, it'll be just a small little grouping and one little dot. We'll see. All right, so the snowstorm is underway. That was back on June 8th. It's pretty much dying out now. Okay, let's get on over here real quick. I just point something out. So, ineffective CME impact. As predicted, a CME struck Earth's magnetic field on June 10th. However, the weak impact was ineffective. It did not cause a geomagnetic storm. The CME was hurled into space by the M9.7 from AR 64/97. CME impacts. Okay. So, ineffective CME impact. All right. Even though it hit us, it was ineffective. We look back at our KP, right? It didn't go into the yellow, it stayed in the green. All right. So it did hit us, but they don't consider it a storm until it reaches, 5 and gets into the yellow, right? Until it's KP of 5, right? So it did hit us. But it was ineffective, as they say, yet we still got hit with all the protons, so that's still effective. Anywho, what I want to talk about here is the impact wasn't weak. It was less effective because, as I take you over here now, I'll give you one good guess why the CME impact was ineffective. Take one good guess. Somebody in the chat, pop it up there and tell me why that thing was ineffective. No, because we have the nice, strong Earth magnetic field. Nice continuity. A little bit of weakness right there. Maybe that was during impact, kind of fluctuate a little bit, but we weren't grinding. The Earth's magnetic field was nice and strong and vibrant for that impact. A lot of these impacts, the difference in the G1, G2, G3 depends on how healthy our field is at the time of impact as well. If we are undergoing an event where it's grinding and then it's weakened and now we get impact with a weakened field, it will absorb a lot more and you will have a stronger geomagnetic storm. Okay, so when our field is nice and smooth and strong and we got good continuity, then we see good protection, and a glancing blow only produces KP4. Okay, because the field was strong that day, and it's fluctuating because of impacts. Every time we absorb stuff down to the core and the shell start to grind, and then we see our grinding, situations here. That's a very small one. That was like barely a little chirp. but nice smooth continuity. And that's why this well, glancing blow, one time the glancing blow is supposed to be a 1 and it turned out to be a 3. One time a glancing blow's not supposed to do anything and it does something. Another time we get a glancing blow that's supposed to do something now and it's ineffective. Well, because our field was strong that day. That's why it's important to check this as well. All right, so ineffective because we had a good continuity. Now, as we come on over here to the null school, I got it set up here on our upper jet stream. Actually, we can just kind of center it because I don't have the box up. All right, we got good flow coming off the Pacific Northwest. It's dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska and Russia too into this. All right, so we're getting cold air coming across, hitting the northern Pacific, going, slamming the North Pacific coast, spreading out across the whole country, fanning out and just delivering this southern, well, dip down into the mid-east coast region right here. All right, but that's your upper jet, so watch how it correlates with your lower jet. Get over here. There's your lower jet stream. We still have this flow coming into the Pacific Northwest, spreading out more across Canada in the upper plains than across the whole U.S., all right? But then it drives back. See this loop driving down into this region here. So that's your lower jet stream. We got a nice little storm brewing right there, maybe. Let's get down to storm level. Here's your storm up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's sucking all this flow in. These two rotating down closer to the surface are causing all this stuff to come up. It hits the coast, but look at this. Is there like a big old wall there or something? Look how all of this flow is just totally supposed to keep going through here. What is turning it like this? I mean, it's not really very serious rotation out here well, it's just odd. It looks like it's coming right up to the coast, hitting a wall. Some of it makes it over and goes this way, but the rest gets all shunted south. And as you can see, there's not much activity coming across this section of the country. Meanwhile, up here in Canada, this is pulling air up again from the Gulf Coast region up into this region up here. Here we go. Let that sit there. And then also this flow coming off the Caribbean and going across Florida. Florida is going to be in some trouble here soon. So you guys in Florida, brace for some flooding. I think our weather is so hit and miss anymore. It's like hard to predict anymore. We got a new player totally controlling the game now. So it's basically unpredictable. Okay, now we'll work this level. I want to take you over to our sandstorms. We haven't checked them in a few days. Of course, they're still going. Look how concentrated it is all on one side of Africa right here. Even pretty concentrated coming out across the Atlantic. All right, it's taking that flow. It's actually going caught in this flow right here instead of depositing a bunch of stuff on South America. It's actually coming out and going up the coast right here. Okay, so there's the one in Africa. We still got one up here, up Caspian Sea. We got our one in the Gobi Desert. And just real quick, let me take the winds off. And look how spread out. Look how green this whole area is. So the sand, even when it's not concentrated like this, it's dispersed out all over this region. Their skies are hazy, dark days, or it's, really thick, having, sandstorm after sandstorm after sandstorm, depending on which way the wind kicks up and when a storm comes in and where it pushes it. We'll put our winds back in. and they dictate where these sandstorms go. Again, we have sand is silica. Silica holds an electric charge. The sand with these passing magnetic fields, these sand particles, whoops, that's what's wrong. It's upside down. There we go. These sand particles get a static charge and become not necessarily lighter than air, but much more buoyant, or very, a lot lighter. They're a lot more easily picked up by the wind and aerosolized and put into the air. So there's your sandstorm. Oh my God. All right, let's get on over here to this. Are we on the right day calendar? Yes. Okay, good. Here we go. America, the country divided, bleeding out on one side, all kind of speckled and pockmarked on the other. Now, so not a lot of flash flooding, plugging stuff up right now. So very smooth flow of this SO2 coming out of the eastern half of the country. There might be a little bit of flooding in that region that's blocking something up, maybe, or it's just not coming out. Blurry? Is it maybe because? Yeah. Okay. That should be a tad bit better. Okay, so let's get on over here. There's still a couple darker. Whoa. A lot of gas coming out of this. This is Mount St. Helens, I think, right there. And some coming out of Rainier, St. Helens, and this mountain down here, too. Also in the Bay Area, we got this whole region spewing gas still. The spot down here where Mammoth is kind of died off. There's a new little hot spot here, new little hot spot there. All right, come on over here. Trying to get rid of them little squares. All right, as you can see, Oahu's still pretty concentrated, pumping SO2 out of there. Maui area, also Hawaii, right next to the volcano there. Back up for their time frame. Alrighty. As you can see, a lot of SO2 coming out of this region. Here's Taiwan. Just a little bit at the tip, maybe along this little shoreline. So a little SO2 coming out of there. It's our relief valve. So we got SO2 coming out of there and earthquakes in our fulcrum point. Okay, so a lot of pressure over on this side, pushing out a lot of gas. Here's a spot that's dark black. It's got a black. It's maximum on the scale. All right, so SO2 has reached way up into this region, coming out of the ground, down in way up into this region. Sorry, coming all the way down into the Korea Peninsula now. All right, so all of this area from here all the way down, it's just all intense gas coming out. Japan as well, their little volcanoes, they're spewing SO2. I like to come down here to Java and check out Java. Sorry, jumping around there. All right, two good points right there. Boom, boom, right here too as well. The island's pretty dark purple. We're pushing out a lot of gas. We've got several relief valves now, so that's when pressure comes in. It comes out of this place. Java vents a lot of pressure. Taiwan does as well. We'll look down here for the Aussies, my friends down under. You guys used to be free of this problem, but it's starting to happen down here as well. All right, now as we come around here, just take a little peek at Europe and see what's going on there. I used to be a butcher, and we had to deal with sides of beef, the ones that Rocky used to beat up in the movie. It looks like a side of beef that got hit with a shotgun, just peppered with a bunch of pellets. And these are all perforations in the crust emitting SO2, each one a different site. We'll even kind of look down in Africa. There's no place really that's free of this. I bet it's happening in Antarctica. There's just probably no sensors there for detecting it. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of sensors there, but it wouldn't make it on this. Our fulcrum point, weak spot, path of least resistance right here, emanating a lot of this SO2. This is another relief valve right here because it's on a fulcrum point. Earthquakes and all the SO2 coming out of this region are relieving pressure in this region, keeping the earthquake magnitudes and activity down. All right, and as I kind of pan down here and zoom in, these are all individual sites. It's not like one plume blowing down the coast. So this whole coastline is one big relief valve. See how dark it gets down in here? That means there's a lot of pressure, but that means a lot of this SO2 is escaping right there, keeping a big quake from happening on this plate boundary right here. I know there's a lot of talk about a big quake coming in. Well, we'll get to that part. So there's your SO2 for now. Okay. SO4, not tonight, Lord. Trying to get our data. So that's the 9th. So that's our latest data. And would you look at this? This whole yellow area out here has calmed down. I mean, there's still, right here, but this thing was all totally yellow a couple of days ago. Here, this is going to be good news for a change instead of bad news. Watch this area. Tell me I'm on the right day, Lord, before I do this. Yes. Okay, this is as close as we can get. This was 2 days ago. All right, so let's go back. A week. See, it's on the 8th right here. Let's go back 1 week from that. Watch this yellow zone right here. Okay. Bam. It was so much worse a week ago. Wow. I was expecting a big old yellow blob, and no way. Okay, this is the 8th. That's the closest we can get to for right now. Wow. That's a dramatic drop in pressure and in hot water coming out of there. So, wow, I'm stunned. That's good news to report. Thank you, Lord. We'll watch it closely. Hopefully it continues to diminish. We got some relief valves now that are, venting, doing their job, expressing. They're venting, they're eliminating the pressure, the energy's expressed out certain areas, and we're getting more of them. So, there's a little spot growing right here. Look at this spot. This is new. This little island right here. Something underwater going on there, definitely. And that's just off of Sumatra, just north of Sumatra right there. We still have this speckled stuff down here, though. Oh, what was the one spot? Yeah, look at this. This is a new spot that's forming here in the southern hemisphere. This big red spot right here, and it's growing in size and in color. Here, we're going to have to do this now. Set it right there. We'll go back. All right, you can see it right there, still barely. Let's go back a week. Let's go back a month. I don't think it did it. 5/8/2024. Okay. All right, then let's go to this month. 6. Ooh, it actually diminished in size. 2. Wow. So we have 2 of these little regions here. Both have diminished in size and in intensity. But no, we have another region down here in the middle of their Pacific down here. And we have ours up there. So in the meantime, our hot water anomalies have kind of cooled off a little bit. Which is good news. I'm pleasantly surprised there. Okay, now let's get over to. No, we can leave it there. Come on over to our earthquakes now. I still am in there. The butcher, the baker, and the candlelight maker. I have. Wow. I have been a baker. I have been a butcher. Whoa. Let's just keep reporting here. That was cool. I didn't think of that. The butcher, the baker, and the candlelight maker. Wow. I'm so glad you guys are all here and enjoying the chat. All right, let's get back to business here. Now, what we got going on here is, let's just do this and you'll see. 4 point down at 537. So there's your mid-range deep quake. A little lower than our average. At 4.5, it's a little lower at 4.2. Next door is a 4.7 that's a little higher than the average. It's another deep quake. So basically, we have 2 average quakes. If you even them out, we've had mid-range 4s, 2 of them, one on the higher end of mid, the lower end of mid. Down here, we have another 4.7 down at 582. These 3 deep quakes down deep here cause surface higher magnitude at the surface. Coming into the system, we haven't seen activity in this part of the system in a while. And usually it's around this area of Vanuatu or down here. We have a 5.2 at the surface right there and another 5.2 at the surface. 2 a little bit bigger than 5, but our 2 5 point, mid-range 5s at the surface, relieving the energy. Very quiet through there. We have volcanic activity, relieving pressure. All through here is volcanic activity, relieving pressure. Coming up here down to Sumatra, this is odd because we got a few quakes here. We got a 4.4. This is down at 175, mind you, on land. This is probably a volcanic feature with activity down below it, letting us know. Hey, you can clearly see that volcano. Whoops. You can clearly see this one. This might be a little fissure or, well, it's way down below, but there's activity bubbling underneath there. Close that out, please. Thank you. Okay, very volcanic area right here. Our other quake is a 4.7 down at 103. So something going on under here now. These are all indications of that pressure being relieved here under this island. And then there was one more. Oh, right out here, plate boundary quake, 4.7. Yeah, at the surface, relieving energy in that area. These two quakes probably built up a little energy and it popped right there too. Over here, this is a different spot. I wouldn't call this a diverse quake because this whole archipelago has full of volcanoes and fault lines. So 5.4 down at 13. This is a region to maybe watch in the future here. This little area has deep quakes in it sometimes. So 5.4 at the surface, relieving energy, even though there's no boundary. 4.8 down at 179. That's energy pushing on this little mountain range down there. We haven't seen much stuff north of Japan in a minute, so there's a 4.5 down at 39. Energy making it over the hump. 4.4. Ow. And before we get into America, let me finish up the rest of the world. Gobi Desert has a 4.6 down at 12. Fulcrum Point quakes 4.3, 4.2. Nothing in Europe. They're going to need something soon. Pressure building there. Nothing along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge today. 4.7 down at 113. These little volcanic islands probably right here. So it's not on the plate boundary. South America. Oh, here, this is good. See energy being released right here. 5.1 on this plate boundary is good. Keeping our magnitude down to 4 here and 4.7 because all the SO2 are leaving energy in that region. Now, everything seems to be working nice and smoothly. Okay, we have proper vintage distribution. It looks like when we get, this is a good little test right here. When we get several of these mid-range 4s, instead of just one, we get several of them, it increases the potential and the impact at the surface, right? But right here, right away, bang, bang. 2 surface quakes, 5.2, just snubbed most of that energy right there, just poof. So if we can continue to see this kind of activity right here, it really diminishes what goes up the rest of the system. Now we also got energy from underneath pushing under these plates, pushing up like they're trying to shove them out of the screen into your face. All right, all these plates are being pushed from the bottom up as well, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the breakage or the releases right along the plate boundaries and at fulcrum points, because those are your points, your weak spots. So I want to get magnitude, all magnitude. Thank you. Now let's dip into the USA. We had this energy right here come in, boom, 3.9 at 41, 4.4 at 28. Three, 2.1. What's this latest? Is a 2.0. It's not it. Something makes it over here. 1.7. A few little small ones here. They're just little ones, but little microquake activity at this little peninsula right here scrubs some of that energy. Even though they're microquakes, it scrubs some of that energy. It's making it over. It's making its way down here. When we get to the Juan de Fuca, most of the Juan de Fuca is quiet. We have a fulcrum point quake, but it's a 2.0. That same energy that was up at the fulcrum point up here. So, little bits went down, not much of it got scrubbed. Bottom here, 2.0. Also, Mount Rainier. Little microquakes, 1.5s and 4s, one right on the top. Indication of magma moving around. when the pressure builds up, it moves, magma moves around underneath that volcano. Note it does it here. This whole little volcanic system, a couple little microquakes there, tells you that these ones will be active volcanoes when something goes off. 1.3 and a 1.2. Even though little microquakes, when something big eventually happens, these will be the sites that will probably vent it. Okay. Boom. 2.9. Now, all right. Here we are at the geysers. We're leaving a bunch of energy with microquakes, okay? I almost kind of want it without the background, just in white, so you can see how many little microquakes. 2.2 being the bigger. But that's doing its job. It's releasing a lot of energy, so energy coming down isn't so strong. The Hayward Fault area, nice and quiet. That's good news. Well, 1.8s along the way is what it's supposed to be doing. One inside of Lake Tahoe. Carnelian Bay at 1.0. Good little microquaking all down through that region, relieving energy. So over all in all, oh wait, I want to look at that's Oklahoma. Okay, nothing around the New Madrid, nothing up by New York right now. That's a good indicator that our pressure is lower. Okay, we did see some deep quake activity, got scrubbed pretty quick. But all in all, this is looking pretty good. Until we take on another round of energy and pressure builds up down below, I would think and all the volcano activity that we're seeing, that I think our quake activity is going to remain much like this until we absorb more energy. Look at the volcano page. All right, come on over here to the volcano page. Already here, Ibu, 20,000 feet out of IBU. That's the one that had the lion head. Okay, 20,000 feet out of that. Semeru on the island of Java, maxing at its 15. Dukono, 9,000. Let's open up what was the 10th. Okay, now, Luatobi, 12,000 feet. You have to excuse me. They're only exhausted still. Semeru, 15,000. Marapi, 14. Dukono, 9,000. Popocatépetl, 19. Santa Guido, probably pretty high. It's usually got a good blast height. 15 out of Fuego. Nevada del Ruiz, semi-active, 22,000 foot blast. Sabancaya, 26. Those are some good numbers. A lot of our pressure being relieved through the volcanic system. All of these are currently erupting. All of these have the potential. They're active. They're minor activity. They're still active. We had like 54 active volcanoes. That's counting both of these lists. Before, it was the one on Hawaii, and then Mount St. Helens was a second one. Now we have these lists and lists of volcanoes that are going off. Everything over here, of course, is always currently erupting. Ones to watch out for: Concepcion, Cotopaxi, that's a new one. Lately, it's been a new volcano, an unknown. Instead of semi-active going over to this list, it's an unknown being, blasting away and then, going semi-active. Canelone is one of those. Concepcion is one of those. Cotopaxi is one of those. Dempo is one of those. Etna is an old faithful, but it needs to be more active. They got too much pressure in that area. I know exactly what's going to happen there. Gamalama. Here's another new one. Kerinci. All right. On Sumatra. it's not necessarily a volcano that we would expect, but it's in the areas that are getting all the pressure. Sumatra, Java, um, here again, Marapi, Sumatra, the Lesser Sunda Islands. That's just the other side of Java. Sunda Strait, where Krakatau is. That's in between Java and Sumatra. Okay, so a lot that whole region, it's just all kinds of activity. So Carinci and Sumatra, Kluchevskoy, there's four volcanoes at the Conchagna Peninsula that are erupting. Nevada del Ruiz, 22,000 foot blast today. Watch that one, should be over here. Purasea, another one of those semi new ones. East Java, a semi new one. San Cristobal, that's a new one since I've been on here. Ubinus, Uluwang, White Island, Tinakula, no. I'm just seeing if there. Oh, Recahenus, lava is primarily flowing northwest. It cuts across Main Road to the south yesterday. All right, so Recahenus still currently active. Reventador, Popo, Nuragongo. All right, so that's for that. We do have tons of activity spots going off. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and light that up and look for a minute. Actually, let me help him with that. Tons of activity spots right here. SO2, please. That one. Okay, who's the comment real quick? We the people. I see you said I don't trust this map. Since when does the USA not have tons of activity spots going off? Okay. Well, it does have tons of activity spots going off. Are we on a right day here? No. The 11th. Okay. All right. This is all your activity. This is SO2. This is hot gas that's down by the magma coming out through the perforations in your crust. They're miniature volcanoes of gas. There's your activity. It's screaming with activity if you know what to look for. But this gas coming out relieves the pressure down below, subduing the earthquake activity. Notice there's not a lot of earthquake activity in this region, but over in this region where there's less SO2, there's more earthquake activity because the pressure's got to be relieved somehow. Okay, so when I know it's shocking when you look at the earthquake map that there's not a bunch of activity in America. Our activity is all microquakeage, all on this side of the country, because on the other side it's all the SO2 being released. Kind of make sense there a little bit? I'm trying to not grill you or cook you or anything. I was trying to explain for you. Sorry, I'm kind of in a weird mood tonight. But there's your activity. It's really going on. And let me point something out here. Okay. What was it about 4 or 5 years ago? Now there were 4 of these little tiny dots, 4 little brown dots. Let me pick out 4 little brown dots by what I mean. They were like this. These 2 faint little, maybe tiny like this. All right. There were 4 tiny little dots that appeared down the coast of the foothill of the Sierras right there. And the whole world slammed on the brakes and freaked out. I don't know if you were there for it, but a lot of people freaked out. They thought the big one's coming. There's SO2 coming out of the ground there. That was 4 little dots and 4 years ago. Now there are multi-millions, and everybody yawns and bats an eye at it. Like there's no activity going on here. See what I mean? There's lots of activity going on. Just got to know what to look for. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to bite your head off. I love you. We the people, that was a great question, great comment. And I don't trust some of these instruments as well, but that's what we're stuck with. We'll try to make the most of what data we do get. So, great comment. I really like the comment and the question. I'm sorry I answered in a weird tone. Something else we're gonna do here too. I hope you're still here. I didn't chase you off and you're still paying attention here. Okay, so I got the fires put on with this as well. Okay. Do we see a correlation with fires and 3,000 degree temperature gas emitting from the ground, starting forest fires from underground? This is not your dew energy weapon striking and starting forest fires. They would love for you to think that. They're fine with you thinking that. As long as you don't know that they're getting started from underground and there's nothing that can be done about it, and you believe that there's something that can be done about it. If we just stop using dews, it'll be okay. Oh, good. Not the case, my friends. I got bad news for you too. It's fires start because of this hot SO2 coming out of the ground. This gas that's surrounding the magma, super hot. And there is activity going on all over the world. It's not just 4 spots in California. There's multi-millions of spots down the coast of South America. There's spots here in Africa. These fires right here are tribal fires that they're probably cooking with or whatever, okay? But some of these fires that are right on these hot spots, they're managed to keep theirs out. But you'll see that some of these places, the fires originate from the gas. And it's not even fire season up at this part of the world yet. Okay, so there was that. Now let's get on over to our forecast. I hope that answered the question. Wish it had caught me on a better night. Let that play for a second while you guys won't get too deep into this tonight because it's all subject to change too. All right, current conditions right now. Let me slide just a little bit better. Get everything in there. Okay, nighttime, June 10th, our current conditions right now. Let me pull it a little bit better. All right, there we go. It's going into tomorrow morning, noon, convection, a little bit here in the middle of Texas, down to South Florida. Watch out. That's really red, really convective, very strong, intense storms right there by convection tomorrow afternoon. So the southern tip of Florida, maybe the heart of Texas, watch out at convection. Nighttime kind of dissipates. Morning of the 12th, noon, convection. Again, convection, coast of Florida here, convection up here in Minnesota. Nighttime. So blossoming here in nighttime around Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, this area right in there, okay? A friend saw black smoke poof up out of a field. That is very possible. Would be an indicator. Beautiful indicator, actually. All right, back to nighttime of the 12th, morning of the 13th, noon, convection. Up here in Canada, watch out. All around Florida, so whoa. Be careful in Florida. There's the nighttime of the 13th. Now they're showing this pop-up blossom here in Indiana. See how it tail into this little system? pops up right there. Indiana, it could be Ohio. This region right in here, this little tail section of this storm might pop up and blossom nighttime of the 13th, morning of the 14th, noon, convection, all kinds of scattered convection pop-ups, little ones all over the little place. Watch out around New York there, convection. Nighttime intensifies here in Nebraska, Kansas, up in this region as well. That'll be the morning of the 15th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 15th, noon, or 16th, sorry, noon, convection, nighttime of the 16th, morning of the 17th. That'll watch out for that. The morning of the 17th and up in there, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 18th, noon, convection, nighttime. So a lot of moisture in that region for these hours right here. And that's all intense. As it starts to move in onto the coast, makes landfall about convection of the 16th, and then just continues through the nighttime, morning of the 17th, noon, convection, nighttime of the 17th, noon, morning of the 18th, noon, convection, until the nighttime of the 18th. For almost 2 solid days, it just rains intensely right there in that patch. So everybody in that region, it could shift a little bit, but for right now, Louisiana, Mississippi, right on the Mississippi River border right there, it's just due to get hit over and over for a minute there. Until the nighttime of the 18th, we got convection in northern Minnesota up there too. Morning of the 19th, noon. Look at this vertical, almost negatively tilted trough there. That's weird. So watch out right through there. In the morning of the 19th, back up here in Montana, they're calling for snow, heavy snow, thunder snow. Severe weather with snow at the same time as thunder snow. So that'll be at the noon of the 19th. Convection, nighttime, morning of the 20th. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 21st. Noon, convection, nighttime. 22, noon, convection, nighttime. 23, noon, convection, nighttime. 24, noon, convection, nighttime. These are so far out there that it's all subject to change. But look at this long linear line right here of storms. Let me go back a frame right there. As the nighttime of the 24th slams this with this down here combines with this into one big long line right there for the morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. Wow. 26th, noon, convection, nighttime, and that's all we got. That was the end of it. All right, so play real quick. You can see your timestamps and your dates. We're still experiencing wild weather. Okay. The more volcanic activity we have, the more particulates put in the air. The more particulates, the more raindrops that can be produced. Now we have that hot water that was producing more water vapor, putting more water into the air with more particulates in the air for that water to adhere to. You have now doubled, tripled, quadrupled the capacity of the air to hold water. It can hold 4 times more water than it did before. All right, so what would be a normal storm that would rain an inch now rains 4 inches. All right, that's the effect. That's your magnification type effect. And it's much stronger than that. I can't give you the real numbers. You don't want to know the real numbers. Let's just kind of keep it simple so you understand the effect and how more particulates. Every volcanic blast keeps putting more particulates in the air. The hotter the oceans get, the more steam is going to come off, evaporate into the air, adding water to the air. The air holds water vapor. It's a percentage of the mixture of air. the percentage of water vapor in our air is increasing at a rate that is alarming. And it's causing our wild weather effects. Okay. Something we didn't do real quick. Let's go bounce back here. I want to get to the ocean SST. Go back. All right, so this was as of the 9th. Okay, 5 local UTC. That's our latest data. The little fires are still there. I just didn't take them down. But what I wanted to do is this area, please. Lots of hot water here off this coast. This is conducive for our hurricane activity. We'll probably do a very, very insane hurricane season, unlike we've ever seen, with new types of hurricanes, new magnitudes that will well, we'll have to come up with new categories. So let's go back a month from right now. So that'll be May 8th. All right, you see, from a month ago to now, watch this region right here. This is the African coast. Dramatically heat up, and this hot water as well. So the area that our storms start to brew in is we got a lot of hot water out there. It's going to make for powerful storms. That's more water being evaporated up into the air. Wow, this area really increased where this area decreased, and this one decreased as well. Seems like our pressure shifted a little more over to this region. But that's what I'm talking about. This is going to have dramatic effects on our hurricane season unless it reverses and somehow slows down, like we just saw. It is possible. This thing reduced, didn't it? It is possible when we got proper ventage of this energy, this pressure. Okay. And Earth was designed to do this. You can see all the different vents and cracks and faults and volcanoes. It's been doing this for millions of years. This planet's well versed at taking on this kind of activity and dispersing energy the way it does. Very interesting how it's happening down here too. Okay, so enough of that. You did your forecast. Now it's time for spiritual report. You guys want to do that still? Or that's what you hung out all this time and I tortured you to get to this point, huh? Let me pull up an image to get started with while I kind of just go through and get rid of some of these things. Yeah, just 1 second here. Pull up an image. We can, maybe I should have just started Xing out of stuff. How about we just do that? Because I got too much stuff going. Come on, knock it down. Get rid of that. And this. I did it backwards. I should have just started getting rid of stuff first. Then we'll pull up an image. Okay, so I like the information for sure, but I love the spiritual report. Oh, good. Well, you're supposed to. That's the best part. And eventually I might just stop doing all the other reporting, the geophysics, astrophysics, and just basically get right to the meat, because all the other stuff is meaningless. It's meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Okay, I'll bring up this image Just a little reminder. Okay, we were looking at the satellite, and I was showing you, our stretch like this, but you couldn't see our object. Here is where you can see our object nice and crystal clear. All right, big, round, black, spheroid object. Our sun is not the size of this black circle. Our sun is about that big right there. This thing is a heavyweight giant. It outweighs our sun. Okay. So some very, very dangerous, precarious situation that we're in. It's very hard to wrap your head around it and grasp well, what's going on here. And it's important that we take a break from all of that and get into spiritual side a little bit. Okay, most of you understand, people that are still here, this image was taken. It's about 25 pictures all put together into a flip book of what happened on Easter, over my head on Easter. Okay, 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. It's the biggest headlines in the world right here. This ruins every other headline in human history for the last 2,000 years. Earth-shattering news. Okay, earth-shattering headlines here. But we all know how our media works, and they don't like this character, do they? So they're not going to tell you that the rapture is happening right now. The rapture is happening right now because the word rapture is not in the Bible. So many people are going to be disappointed because they hung all of their stuff on a word that is not in the Bible. If you're such a Bible scholar, quit using the term rapture. It is not in there. The idea is that you see what's happening around you. You recognize we're in the end times. When you recognize those times, you're told to look up into the clouds. Look up. You will see him coming in the clouds with power and great glory. The crown up here symbolizes power and great glory. This is my face showing up in the clouds. Okay? You are looking at my face in the clouds. You are caught up, like caught up in a book, caught up in a good song, caught up in the moment. Use the proper terminology that's in the Bible. You are caught up with me in the clouds. This is me in the clouds, and you're caught up in this moment. That's what the rapture is. It's not being lifted up into the air like you're going to levitate with Jesus right in the sky and everybody's going to see you levitating. The word levitation is not in there. You got to read directly. If you want to experience said rapture, you are caught up with me in the clouds. You have met me here in the air of cyberspace. Not like Hollywood portrayed. And that's where everybody's going to just be so disappointed. But it's not disappointing. It's actually quite exciting. I mean, you should be excited. Not scared. Yeah, maybe these ads and be scared of that crap. Be scared of mankind and their reaction to this. They're nullified, kind of living in denial reaction to what's really going on around them. Okay, really going on. Here, let me show you that this is really going on around you. You guys have all been here, seen this, done this, whatever. I got to do it again. Oh, we're down to the 20. Never mind. Let's just get to the reading. Got my face there. Good enough. My face shining on you. It's an image of me when I was a little bit younger. Let me give you enough. That's me. Okay. Try to block her out for her privacy. But that is my face. out by the moon. It's not in the clouds anymore. It's out by the moon. You will see signs in the sun, in the moon, in the stars. Oh, there's your sign in the moon. Has anybody ever noticed my avatar? Anybody ever really noticed my avatar's moon? You know what the moon does? Brings light in the darkness. There's many meanings in my avatar. If you knew what to look for. And the people that are here at this point of the show, they're here for a reason. They know what to look for. They've seen it and they're ready for this part. So everybody get into position. Take your deep breath. Curl up with your loved one. Pull a blanket up. Get the pillow, your hot tea, your coffee, your cocoa. Some of you are in your cars doing this, doing it alone in the car. All kinds of different activities. You guys are finding new ways of doing this, so that's interesting. So it's important you see me there. Understand that you're seeing my face and hearing my voice. We'll take a couple of deep breaths together here. I need to too. I've had a very disruptive 3 days. I can't even explain to you guys, but it's still coming out of my PTSD. I know the tools to use. Thankfully, Jesus helps me with my PTSD, but it's very difficult, and I'm just doing the best I can. So I've had some very difficult days, and you folks have as well. I know you have. But what's important, it's going to be hard to hear this, but you must learn to appreciate your difficult days. Be stimulated by the challenges you encounter along your way. I know it's hard. It's hard to be stimulated when you're beaten down. Okay? But know that when you know this stuff is, you're being tested, right? And you know that there's a final destination now. You understand much more, much deeper. Learn to appreciate your difficult days and try to be stimulated by the challenges you encounter. As you journey through the rough terrain with me, gain confidence from your knowledge that together we can handle anything. This knowledge is comprised of 3 parts. 1, your relationship with me. 2, the promises in the Bible. And most importantly, the third one, your past experiences of coping successfully during your hard times. That's the most important one. That's probably the one that got you, was when you were able to cope successfully during hard times. Is usually how people first learn of me. So, your relationship with me, the promises in the Bible, and your experiences of coping successfully during the hard times have proven to you now. So, look back on your life and see how I have helped you through difficult days. And if you're tempted to think, yes, but that was then and this is now, remember who I am. Although you and your circumstances may change dramatically, I remain the same throughout time and eternity. And this is the basis of your confidence. In my presence, you live and move and have your being. The basis of your confidence is that I remain the same. I'm a foundation. I remain the same. You can count on it. That's the only thing you can count on, is that I remain the same. And thankfully I do. Thankfully you guys have something to count on. All right? And when you look back on your life, look and see how I have helped in those difficult days. There was days in your past that you thought, oh, that was the worst day of my life, right? I was there helping you. You might see it now further down the trail. Looking back, oh, squares. That's a little better. Okay, so it's important that you look back in your life and you see that I did help you back in those difficult days. I know you're tempted to think that was then, but this is now. Remember, I never change. I'm that constant. So, in those difficult days, that's the one thing that you're able to learn to appreciate your difficult days because you have something to fall back on. In my presence, you now live and move. In my presence, you have your being now, don't you? Now you feel something inside that you never felt before. Some confidence, some assurance, some hope, real trust when there's no one you can trust anymore. Okay, now there's this term holiness. Everybody thinks the term holy or holiness means being perfect, upright, a goody goody. No, 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 no. The term holy means you are set aside. Doesn't mean you're perfect, doesn't mean you're great, doesn't mean you're terrible. It means you are set aside. When you are holy, you are set aside for sacred purpose. This is sacred purpose. If you are looking at this and hearing me, you have been set aside for a sacred purpose. That's what makes you holy, is being set aside for a sacred purpose. Okay? So when worship me in the beauty of holiness, okay? It's not to boost me and, it's for you. So when you worship me in the beauty of holiness. Worship me in the fact that I'm set aside for sacred use and I pulled you along with me. You're set aside for sacred use now. And you're beautiful, okay? You're that beauty of holiness. You are. So worship me in that beauty of holiness. That all true beauty reflects some of who I am. I am working my ways in you now. The divine artist creating loveliness within your being. My main work is to clear out debris and clutter, making room for my spirit to take full possession. Collaborate with me in this effort by being willing to let go of anything I choose to take away. I know what you need, and I have promised to provide all of that abundantly. So some things get taken away, don't they? And you're like, why'd you take that away? Because you didn't need it. I know what you need, and I have promised to provide all of that abundantly. I also remove things that you don't need. So collaborate with me in this effort by being willing. How do you collaborate? By being willing. Give it a shot, give it a try. See, you got nothing to lose. If you don't like it, well, that means you don't like it. But be willing to give it a try. Be willing to let go of anything I choose to take away. God, thank you for all you've given and all you've taken away. Because I take away bad habits. I take away broken hearts, right? Well, that would be something I take away. So it's important that you understand and be willing to let go of stuff that I take away. Be willing to accept stuff that I give you. Because then you're living abundantly. Your sense of security must not rest in your possessions or in the things that or in things that are going your way. Okay? Everybody is set in things going their way. So your sense of security must not rest in your possessions or in the way things are going your way. I am training you to depend on me alone, finding fulfillment in my presence. You should be finding fulfillment here right now in my presence. This entails being satisfied with much more or with little, accepting either as my will for the moment. So, being satisfied when you get a lot, and be satisfied when sometimes it's just a little, accepting it as my will for the moment. And instead of grasping and controlling, you are now learning to release and receive. You can't receive until you release. So you are slowly learning to release and receive. Cultivate this receptive stance, your receiving stance now. Cultivate this receptive stance by trusting me in every situation. Now this is okay. Seek to please me above all else. As you journey through each day, there will be many choice points along your way. Most of the day's decisions will be small ones you have to make quickly. You need some rule of thumb to help you make good choices. Now, many people's decisions are a combination of their habitual response and their desire to please themselves or others. So, most of your decisions are a combination. You've made a decision on two factors, most of it a habitual response or your desire to please others or yourself. And that's not my way for you. Strive to please me in everything, not just in your major decisions. This is possible only to the extent that you are living in close communion with me. When my presence is your deepest delight, you know almost instinctively what will please me. A quick glance at me is all you need to make the right choice. Delight yourself in me more and more, and seek my pleasure in all you do. I can increase your pleasure, and I can make your hard times bearable. Now, this is so important, this next part right here. I'm going to read it a couple of times because I want you to grasp this. This is how important it is. You can live as close to me as you choose. Okay? How close to me do you want to live? It's up to you. That's your choice. You can live as close to me as you choose. I set up no barriers between us. Do you hear me? I don't set up barriers between us, but neither do I tear down the barriers that you erect. Everybody's erecting their own barriers, expecting that God will tear down those barriers, but He doesn't. I set up no barriers between us. Yeah, I was definitely alarmed for that one, huh? Alright, where's the alarm button? There it goes. It's important that you know you get to live as close to me as you choose. I set up no barriers between us, but neither do I tear down the barriers that you erect. You must tear down the barriers that you erect between you and me. People tend to think that their circumstances determine their quality of their lives, so they pour their energy into trying to control those situations. How much energy have we poured into trying to control situations? People pour their energy into trying to control their situations. They feel happy when things are going well and sad or frustrated when things don't turn out the way they'd hoped. They rarely question this correlation between their circumstances and their feelings. Yet it is possible to be content in every situation. Most people don't question that there's a correlation between their circumstances and their feelings. And yet it's blatantly obvious it's your circumstances that are making you feel that way. Well, when you don't let your well-being depend on your circumstances. And that's hot off the street right there, okay? That's the point I'm stuck in right now. Don't let your well-being depend on your circumstances. I'm stuck in some gnarly circumstances I can't describe, all right? And they're trying to eat at my well-being. But don't let your well-being depend on your circumstances. Instead, connect your joy to my precious promises. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will meet all your needs according to my glorious riches, and nothing in all creation will be able to separate you from my love. Okay? It's important you guys understand those three promises. I am with you. I will watch over you. I will provide your needs. And nothing can separate us. So now that you know that and you understand that, I want you to walk peacefully with me through each day. You're wondering how you will cope with all that's expected of you. You must traverse each day like any other, one step at a time. Each day you have to traverse one step at a time. You guys are recognizing that now and using the tools to actually successfully traverse. Okay? And I know a lot of you are still wondering how you'll cope with all that's expected of you. But instead of mentally rehearsing how you will do this or that, keep your mind on my presence and on just taking the next step. All right? Not the marathon, just on my presence and the next step. The more demanding your day, the more help you can expect from me. This is a training opportunity. And since I designed you for deep dependence on your shepherd king, challenging times wake up and amplify your awareness of needing my help. It's the challenging times that wake you up and amplify your awareness of needing my help. When you don't know what to do, wait while I open the way before you. Trust that I know what I'm doing and be ready to follow my lead. I will give strength to you and I will bless you with peace. Okay, that's our little closer right there. So when you don't know what to do, wait. Wait while I open the way before you. Trust that I know what I'm doing. What do? You wait and trust. What do? Walk peacefully with me through each day. What do? You take it one step at a time. What do? Well, instead of mentally rehearsing, keep your mind on my presence and taking the next step. This is the training. This is the training, okay? I designed you for. Challenging times wake up and amplify your awareness of needing help, of needing my help. You look around at the political landscape and you see the mess in the war. There is nobody else who could help in these challenging times. Okay? And when you don't know what to do, wait for a second. Wait while I open the way before you and trust that I know what I'm doing. Be ready to follow my lead. When you see this, I give you strength, don't I? Doesn't this reading and these images help give you strength and hope and peace? Because that's what it's designed to do. That's what you're designed for, is for absorbing that and listening to me, is what you were designed for. And I bet you're finding a little bit of peace in this moment when you saw what's going on around the world. If you could understand what was happening in my personal life and the serious attacks I'm under, you would know that I give you strength and I bless you with peace. You would see my affliction happening to me identical as it happened before, and you would know. So, walk peacefully with me, one step at a time. This is a training opportunity. You were designed to listen to my voice, be in my presence, and overcome these challenging times with amplifying your awareness of needing my help. Together we make perfection. You look back on your life, you see where I helped before. If it happened back then, it can still happen now. So walk peacefully. Try to walk peacefully with me through each day. I know it's hard. I'm losing my mind too. I'm pulling my hair out, and I'm a master of this stuff. And this world is testing me as well as it's testing you. That's why this stuff is hot off the streets. This is what I actually experiencing and going through right now. I'm still in the process. I shouldn't be going live right now. I'm still in my process. But I had to touch base with you guys and remind you, challenging times wake you up. All right, that's it for now. I love you guys. I'll try to get up back here tomorrow. Okay. I'm thoroughly exhausted mentally too, so I'm trying my best to be here for you guys. I thank you for being here for tonight's show. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys. I miss you guys. All right. I do this for you. I see all these people making money on their channels. They're monetized, or they can't say this, they can't say that. They're all blocked from saying certain things. They're making tons of money. Meanwhile, I don't make any money at this. I give this gift away for free. Okay? And you can share it with your friends and family too, okay? That'll probably make them feel better too. All right? It's a gift that keeps on giving, doesn't it? It just keeps on giving. You could share it with a friend, and that friend could share it with another friend, and it would just keep on giving and giving and giving. And when you share this with somebody, it blesses you as well as blessing the other person. You could see how it would bless them, right? But it blesses you when you share this. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And until my next show, may not be tomorrow, maybe, we'll see, but I will be back. Okay, if it's a day or I'm usually everyday guy. I have rough times in my life too, okay? So until my next show, I will be back. It might just be a day or a little longer. We'll see. It might be within the next 2 hours, depending on what happens, right? But know that I love you all. I miss you all. And I will be back. I am already back. You should be able to tell by now what's going on with the world. I'm already back. You are caught up with me in the clouds. You are technically raptured or whatever, but there is no term rapture. It's your faith has been completed into knowing. So I'm the one that completes your faith. Now you know. You can count on it now. You have victory. Guaranteed if you want it. However much you want it. How much you choose. Based on how much you choose. Okay? That's it for tonight. I love you all. Miss you all. Till my next show. I will be back. I'm already back. Bye.